Welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast, the show for visionary coaches, healers, wellness pros, and small business owners who aren't just here to host another feel-good getaway, but to build a profitable, impactful retreat business. I'm your host, Shannon Jamail, retreat strategist, business mentor, and owner of a 46-acre retreat center. I've hosted over 100 retreats around the world, and I've made every mistake so you don't have to. Each week, we'll dive into the mindset, marketing, money, business, and mechanics behind sold-out, profitable retreats. Plus, hear from expert guests who are walking the talk. Whether you're planning your first retreat or scaling your 100th, you're in the right place. Welcome to the show. Hey guys, welcome back to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. It's Shannon, and I know I say this a lot, y'all, but today, my stomach even has butterflies in the best way. I'm so excited about my conversation today. Welcome, Erin Haag, back to the show.
Hi, this is one of my favorite places to hang with you.
Yay! Mine too. Mine too. So Erin and I just did a live webinar for over 60 people, and we're going to kind of touch point on the same thing that we talked about on the live webinar a little bit. And it really just comes down to what her and I see, and we talk about every day, that basically the top reasons why retreat leaders are not selling out their retreats. It's just, let's just call it what it is. And so what we started off with, so I would love for Erin to kick us off, is we're going to talk a little bit about pricing. And the reason why that's important is because one of the first things retreat leaders do when their retreat's not selling is they think they have to cut their price. So Erin, will you just kick us off a little bit? Well, actually, there might be somebody new listening who doesn't know who you are. Will you tell everybody who you are,
Okay.
just in case?
Yeah, hi. My name is Erin Haag. I am located in South Florida in Palm Beach. I am a serial entrepreneur. I have two companies, Pricing Overhaul, which is my consulting agency. I work with businesses and service industries to overhaul their pricing for profitability. So my main gig is as a pricing and profit strategist, and organically born out of that came luxury and business retreats. And there's a whole story. We can save that for another day of how that transpired. But now luxury and business retreats is a consulting firm or agency for retreat professionals to help them grow more profitable businesses, whether they're leaders, chefs, photographers, coordinators, what have you.
Love it. And Erin and I have been connected for quite a long time. She's actually been on the podcast 2 other times, which we will link in the show notes before they're worth tapping into for sure. But we also got to spend a week together in France at her retreat, which was Chef's Kiss. Now she's got me over here researching doing retreats in France because of this experience that I got to have with her and her amazing company. And so highly recommend that you check all of her stuff out, which of course will be in the show notes. But one of the things that she is well known for in the retreat space, and we're going to specifically talk retreat space, obviously, is pricing. Because she and I, of course, but she's really, really very good at this. Our whole goal is to elevate people from a hobbyist to a business entrepreneur in the retreat space, and also to not look at profit as evil. God, dog it. I just can't say that enough. But Erin, will you just kick us off talking about pricing a little bit so that way we can understand why cutting our price is not where we go if our retreat's not selling out?
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, Business Basic 101. There are healthy margins for every business. For service-based businesses in service industries, the healthy margins are typically 35, 35, 30. That means that 35% of the gross revenue coming in is allocated to pay for operating expenses. 35% of the revenue coming in is allocated to pay for payroll, and the remaining 30% is the business's profit. And so, no matter what your business is, what your services are that you provide, every single one of your offers inside your business needs to be in alignment and in balance with these margins. So when you host a retreat, it's not just a matter of saying, well, how much do the accommodations, food, and excursions cost? It's what are the overall operating expenses needed to go into bringing this offer to market? How much are my flights, my team's flights to get there, our accommodations, our meals, our rental car? What is the marketing spend that has to go into it? What are the bank fees, like international transaction fees that are associated with it? Well, how much of the insurance I have to pay an attorney to have the contracts drafted? Like, it's not just the cost of the experience, it's actually all of the costs, the operating expenses for the business. Then you have your payroll. Well, you got to get paid for this. You don't pay yourself out of profit. No, 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 no. You pay yourself out of your payroll budget. So, how much do I have to pay myself to actually bring this offer to market? How much do I have to pay my team? That's payroll. And then what's left over is the profit. And that margin should be about 30%. So, when people start discounting on their retreat, they're not cutting into that operating expense budget. They're not cutting into that payroll budget. They may cut into their own personal as the leader, but they're cutting into their profits. They're giving their profit away. And so I always phrase discounts in you're not discounting the service, you're actually taking money out of your own bank account or pocket and giving it to your client. That's what a discount is.
It is. And the problem that I see with it is, Erin, it also discounts the experience. It just drives me insane because there's a certain value that you are providing. Or let's put it this way. There should be a value, a transformation. That's what you're selling. You're not selling the 3 nights in the hotel or wherever you're at. You're not selling the everyday yoga. You're not selling the chef prepared meals. Those are the things. You're selling the transformation, the promise, the experience. You're selling how they are going to be or feel differently on the other end of that retreat. When you start discounting, it consciously and subconsciously tells everyone, well, then the experience, the value, the promise is not worth what she's saying it was worth, you
Well,
know?
and it's actually not an effective strategy. So people do not buy because of the price. You can actually survey like thousands of buyers out there. And in the retreat industry specifically, people buy for three reasons. Number one, they buy because of you, the retreat leader. They like you, they trust you, they want to be with you, they want to learn from you, they want to spend time with you. That's the number one reason people buy your retreat. Number two is the theme or the retreat promise or the transformation. That has to be something that they need and want and desire in order for them to say, okay, I want to go on this retreat with you. And then third is the location. That's like when people are polled, they're like, location is, number three. They're motivated, they're inspired, they're excited about the location. When you ask people to list out their determining factor for why they buy into a retreat, oftentimes price doesn't even show up on the list. So when retreat leaders jump to discounting the price first as an attempt to sell their retreat, it's actually super, super ineffective because that's not the primary reason why people purchase in the first place.
Totally agree. When someone is attracted, if you've done your content marketing right and someone is attracted to the retreat promise, the theme, the transformation, the price is the last. Even if they're like, gosh, that's a little pricey, they will find the money because they want that promise, they want that transformation, they want to feel the way you're saying they're going to feel on the other end of that retreat. And so yes, the price is not the problem. So I just want to make that super clear as we start to head into what the problem is. That's not where you go. So the number one problem, the number one to me reason why retreats are not filling is a lack of proper marketing and selling. Period. And by the way, those are two different things. There's marketing and there's selling, and they should be done daily, not once a week, not twice a week. They should be done daily. Every single day you spend time and you're excited to spend time and you're believing in your price and you're believing in your transformation and you are showing up every single day marketing and selling. What do you think, Erin?
Oh my goodness. Yes. I'm gonna do a shout out to Dora Rankin. She's a friend of ours, a colleague.
Yes.
She is the creator of a method called the heart cell. So look her up, get her book, but she explains it very simply. She did this at her workshop at my retreat in Champaign, where you also did a workshop. And she says, marketing is about how people find you, and sales is how you find your people. So, marketing is only brand awareness. It's for them to know who you are, know that you exist, know that there's something out there. But marketing doesn't motivate or inspire people to buy from you. You actually have to do the personal outreach. Like you actually have to invite them into a conversation to get them to purchase, especially to get them to purchase spending time with you. Like they might like you on social media, but people don't know if they like me. Like
Yeah,
people
no, I
don't
get
know
it.
if they want to spend a week with me in Champagne. They might, you don't know. So you need to get in conversation with people.
Yes. Now, I will say this. There was a time and space in in the retreat industry when marketing could sell a good portion of your retreats. There was a time and space for that. Today, and it's not just retreats, but it's so noisy. There's so much going on. There's so many things calling for our attention. And yes, the retreat industry in general has skyrocketed since COVID, which is a good thing, by the way. It's a great thing. But because of all that noise, marketing alone will not fill your retreat. Will you get a one off here and there? Yes. Erin, share the one that you just got with your email campaign.
Yeah, this is like a one-off scenario. Okay, so I'm hosting a retreat in Slovenia. I leave next week and it is a sold out retreat. There are 13 attendees. 12 of those attendees were sold by my outbound sales strategy, but the last person, came in. I had never interacted with her before. She opted into my email list 2 months prior. She has since read and clicked on all of my emails and all of the things. Actually, I lied. She never clicked on any of the links. She just read the emails, just read the emails. That was it. And then finally, the last email that she read motivated her to click on the link. And when she clicked on the link, she purchased. And when I reached out to her, I was like, oh, I need to know who this person is who's coming on retreat with me. I need to make sure she's even a good fit. And she said, your daily emails and messaging were what finally convinced me to buy your retreat. Now, that's one person out of 13. And
Right.
when I really look at all of the retreats that I've hosted this year with a total of over 40 attendees, she's one of 40 that happened to.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So that's a really good example of you do the marketing, but really what you're doing the marketing for is your email list. And then you nurture the email list, right? So your social posts, your blogs, your podcast guesting, your SEO work, everything that you're doing on the marketing side. By the way, that's all marketing. That feeds into your email list, which is also marketing, right? But that's the one you own because all the rest you don't. If you guest on someone's podcast and they decide to take the show down for some reason, if you blog on somewhere and then they decide they don't want to post it, if you post something on social media, well, guess what? Less than 5% of your followers are going to see that unless you pay to play, and you've got to pay big today to play. You don't own any of it anyway. Even the social media, you don't own any of that, right? You own your email list. So everything feeds into your email list. And then you nurture that email list, which is also marketing. Now, where it goes from marketing to sales is what Erin almost hinted at just a moment ago, which is someone opens your email and then they click the link. And as soon as they click the link, you run a report that says, oh, Erin and Shannon and Jane and Susan and Rob click this link. I'm going to go and reach out to all of them directly. I'm going to send Erin a voice memo or a video. I like doing it like that. You can do an email if you want, but I like a voice memo or a video and say, Erin, I saw that you clicked on my Tulum retreat. I would so love to see you there. Can we set up a time to talk about it? Can I send you more information? Whatever your language is. Be you. Erin shared something that I thought was really cool. So Erin, talk to
Well,
us about people that clickety click on your stuff.
clickety click. So Shannon knows I was a musical theater major and I grew up in a family of theater professionals. And you can't hear it in my voice now because I'm I've got a sore throat. But I am a singer and I sing to everybody. I sing good morning songs. I sing all the time. And so it's so funny because I'll send like a voice memo to somebody in Messenger who's been clicking on my link. And I'm like, click, click, clickety, click. See you stuck in my links. And, I turn it
I
into
love
just like
it.
a fun little, then they laugh. They're like, oh my God, I was caught. Yes, I've been stalking your emails, stalking your things. And I'm like, okay, well, let's change this relationship from stalker to like, why don't we hop on the phone and have a conversation? And then they're like, okay, sure, let's do that. And then by the end of the conversation, they're in. So it's just
Yes.
you have to like put not everybody's going to sing to people, but you have to put your personality into it.
You do. And you're not going to have ChatGPT construct something for you and do that. That's the reason why I really like the voice and the video today, because everybody's writing everything from ChatGPT now. And so, but anyway, so you reach out to those people that click your link. When you do your social posts or a blog and there's whatever, anything you put out there, that if there's a comment or a like, that is also a warm lead. That is somebody else that you are now going to sell to, right? So, yes, marketing then selling. They meet together and they form probably a close to 90 to 95% of the attendees that are going to come on your retreat. It's the combination of those two things. The other percentage could be a repeat guest, it could be a referral, it could be a word of mouth, just could be a one off. But most of your attendees are going to come when those two things meet. The important part is showing up consistently. I would say that two most important parts, so marketing and selling, but the two most important things that affect that is showing up consistently. That honestly, you guys, it is daily. And that doesn't mean you physically every day necessarily. You can schedule things for sure, but really if you're in this space, truthfully, there should be something that's happening every day, and at least 5 days a week you are actively spending an hour to 2 hours marketing and selling, right? But there should be something that's showing up every day, even if it's running on autopilot, right? If you've got an ad that's feeding into your email list, whatever, there's got to be something that's working for you every day. Because one of the things that's being touted now in the surveys and in the research is that people now have to have 10 touch points to buy from you.
Well, and that's 10 personal touch points to buy for you.
Correct.
Before that, before you even get into the personal touch points, they have to see you, just your messaging, your marketing 37 times. It used to be 7. It pre-COVID, it was 7 times that they have to see your marketing and your messaging before they take action to actually reach out and now have a personal touch point. That's now 37. Then you enter into these personal touch points, which used to be like 3,
It
and
used to be
now
3.
it's 10.
Yeah, that just tells you how noisy it is, right? That just tells you how much is out there now and how much is visible. And everybody and their dog has a social media account, right? Like literally dogs. And so there's so much out there right now that you've got to have the 37, here I am, here I am, here I am, and then the 10, hey, Erin, Shannon, Erin, Shannon. And so, yeah, you've got to be doing this daily. So that would be the other thing. And then the other part that influences the sales and marketing is the belief in what you're doing, the belief in your price, the belief in the transformation that you're offering, so that you show up confidently with that belief. Because it's woo woo, take it or leave it, but how you feel about your experience that you're putting together will absolutely affect the sales of it. 100%.
100%. And I come at it. I'm also woo. I have some woo flavor. You know it. I'm going on a DNA activation and past life regression retreat as an attendee in November. But I also am very much in the pragmatic mathematical approach. I find that feelings are very unstable. But what is not unstable is math. And there is something very comforting in doing the math to see how much it's going to cost you to hit those margins 35, 35, 30 on your retreat. Because the math doesn't lie, because
Yep.
math is unemotional, math doesn't have feelings, math is just completely neutral. When you do the math and the math tells you this is the price point, it's almost an easier buy in for you as opposed to doing a lot of mindset work around your own personal self-worth and your own personal value and will people pay for what you offer? Like, whoo, that's heavy. That's deep.
Yeah.
And I'm not a therapist, but what I am is a mathematician. And I can just look at the math and regardless of all of that other, mindset trash talk that's happening inside me, I can be like, but the math told me this is what it has to be.
Hmm.
So if I can get on board and believe anything, I can believe the math. And so a lot of
Yes.
times you can lead with that. And then when you start to see proof that people are paying for it, do want it, and are coming back and paying again, then the other stuff, the belief and the value, and that you're good enough to do it and offer it comes like as just as a natural, result of that.
Hmm. Yes. Okay. So we know you got to know your money. You got to know your numbers. We know you got to be marketing and selling every single day. And I would say the third part, Erin, that really affects retreat leaders, not just in selling out the retreats, but their overall business, is being in the right room with the right people. Because I'm just going to share that, I joined Genius Network. I did that. I joined Genius Network, and I am like the small fish in the big pond, and I love it because it stretches me. And the energy and the collaboration that happens in that space is huge. And just me being around these other go-getters that are ballers is huge, right? Me going to France and coming to your retreat and doing a workshop and meeting the people in that space and meeting you and everybody there in person, in real life person. I have already made so much money from that. But more importantly, I've made relationships and collaborations that are going to last my lifetime, that are going to affect my business and me personally in such a powerful way, and being connected. And so, talk to me about your thoughts on being in the room, but also being in the right room.
I love that segue. So I wrote a post and an email about this. I shared this the other day. There's all this marketing out there telling you to put yourself in the room, be in the room, put yourself in the room. But you just don't want to put yourself in any room. As you said, you have to put yourself in the right room. And when you step into a room, you need to look at the people who are in that room with you because those are the people that you become. And so you either step into a room where everybody is playing at the same level that you currently are playing at. Maybe there are people who aren't even playing the game as well as you are, right? So they've got some work to do to catch up to where you are. You have a lot of rooms out there where there are people saying, it's okay not to make money on your first retreat. In fact, it's normal and you should expect to lose money on your first couple, but that's okay because you're getting testimonials, you're getting photos, you're getting experience. Like you don't want to be in a room with those people because the conversations that are being had either elevate you, inspire you, or they simply normalize where you are and normalize mediocrity. And so if you're
Hmm.
in walking into a room with people who are like, bartering's great. I offer exchanges all the time. Or, you know what? Breaking even is great. That's a win because at least you got your trip paid for. Like or people who are, well, $50,000 in profit. That's silly. Ha ha ha. That doesn't happen. In fact, I've been hosting retreats for 30 plus years, and I still to this day host retreats where I don't make any money. Like, if you're putting yourself in those spaces, and that's fine if that's what you want, but that will be your reality.
Yep.
If you are looking to elevate yourself, you have to put yourself into rooms where the conversations are different, where $50,000 profits on a retreat are not only the norm, they're expected. That's what people do. Where people are 100% confident that their retreats are going to sell out, that they are always trying to be the next best version of themselves. And you really want to, I don't even say put yourself in a room with your peers because I don't. I put myself in rooms with people who are making a lot more money than I am, who are way further ahead than I am. And I intentionally want to be the small fish in a big pond because
Hmm.
that is the only way that I am going to grow.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So all of that, exactly, which is really the reason why we're having this event in London. One of the reasons why I'm doing this event in London is to bring people together in a space that they can feel that. I'm not one that normally is like, it's all about how experienced or whatever the leader is, but it is. In those types of rooms, when you're getting in those rooms and you're paying to be in those spaces, you need to know that the people that are leading it are doing the walk, or they're walking the talk, that are people you want to learn from and you want to be elevated by. I love how you said you can be either elevated by the people in the room, or you could be reassured that what you're doing right now is working. If that's the case, you don't need to be in the room at all. I mean, just stay home. Personally, but I want to be in those rooms that we're creating in London, where it's the collaborations. Holy shit. It's the energy. I know, again, SNR woo, but really that energy is powerful. Like, I still am carrying the energy from France. I carry the energy every day from my experience with Genius Network. I'm carrying energy from my 3-day conference that I just went to that was absolutely phenomenal, that pushed me, that made me uncomfortable because I know I needed to be uncomfortable, literally made me uncomfortable. And so I want to be in those spaces where I'm like, shit, I am striving for more because I'm elevated by the people in this space, and it makes me hungry in the best way and so excited to be there. And so, Erin, I mean, I know I sound like a little kid, but I'm seriously so excited about the space in London and the people that are coming. It's literally going to be magic.
Well, and I'm just excited to be invited because this is your event. This isn't my show. I'm not even co-hosting this with you, but you invited me as a guest to present a workshop. And I was just like, yes, okay, I'll come. And originally it was just, I didn't think I could actually physically be in London. I was like, well, I can contribute and help you out via Zoom. And then I'm like, no, I'm just going to go to London. Like, even if I'm just presenting a 1 hour workshop, that 1 hour of me being in that room with other people is so, so great. So I'm flying to London, and I haven't been to London in over 20 years. So I'm like, twist my arm, make me go to
Yeah.
London.
What a great reason to go to London, though. Like, not to keep saying it, but I mean, look at you get to go to a really fucking cool place. It's a business write-off. You're gonna be with amazing people, and you're going to also, let me just also say, you're going to get like really good strategy. You're going to get detailed strategy, not only on how you can make your retreat business profitable, but how you also can learn how to make even more money, incremental money, reoccurring money from your retreats themselves. And so, like, definitely the business strategy is going to be there. There's going to be so many different key takeaways that you're going to take, but the collaboration in the room, the energy in the room, the space itself, I just feel like it's a no-brainer. And look, at London's not that far of a flight, so
No,
wherever
it's
you're
not. Well,
from.
I do want to say it's not just about this one workshop. So yes, I'm coming because it's you. It's this workshop and it's London, right? Okay, so those are all the three main reasons why people buy, as I said at the beginning.
That's right.
But I also am looking at this as an opportunity of like, who else do I know in London? So I arrived the day before, and that night, like, my marketing agency is based out of London, and
Yep.
they just so happen to be hosting a client dinner on that the night before. So I'm like, well, I've never been in person with my marketing agency. I'm going to go participate in their client dinner. And then the day after the retreat, I'm like, wait a minute. I have a client who I work with inside my other business who lives outside of London. I'm going to see if she wants to come into the city and have lunch with me. So it's like an opportunity
Yep.
to not just be in your room, but for all of the listeners out there, you all know people in London, and it's just a way to like really expand your business in so many other ways.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things that my husband and I do with our Genius Network is wherever we're traveling to, we look to see if there's another member in that area that we can meet up and have a strategy meeting, lunch, breakfast, or just a conversation. And that's absolutely the smart thing to do, whether it's a network, whether it's a marketing company, whether it's a fellow collaborator that you've just always been following and talking to, and now you have an opportunity to meet them. Take advantage of that time wherever you travel to, when you're doing some sort of business development in general. Like, how else can you take advantage of the time that you're spending there? What more could you get out of it? What other meetings could you have? What other discussions could you have? So I couldn't agree more, but I am so looking forward to it. Hopefully, y'all got some tips out of this on what you could be doing differently in order to increase those sales. And I think the biggest takeaways are, it's not the price. You need to be selling and marketing every single day. and you need to believe in what you are selling and marketing. And so the last piece is you need to be in the right rooms with the right people, keeping this energy going, keeping yourself motivated, keeping yourself educated, because this is a fast moving industry, and just, collaborating in that energy. So thank you, Erin, so much for being on the show. I always enjoy having you on here.
Thanks for having me. I feel like our podcast recordings are just an extension of our daily Voxer chats together.
They are, and I love it. Thanks for tuning in to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. If you love this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your retreat besties. Want more support? Grab free resources at theretreatleadersplaybook.com. Until next time, lead boldly, serve deeply, and retreat profitably.